What is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to be going over another undertaught and underused pattern for your game. A lot of people seem to like the first video I did where we talked about the high line change. So I'm going to be giving you guys another one that is undertaught and underused. And if you use it right, it can help you drastically change the way a point is going. You can throw off people's rhythm, and you can put yourself in a good offensive position, usually for free or for at least minimal effort. So let's get into it. And before we get started, guys, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to like and subscribe, please. We are trying to work on doing collaboration videos with other channels, and we have certain numbers that we have to hit in order to make those things possible. Our first collaboration video is scheduled for the beginning of August, which is super exciting. Can't wait to get that done. So back on the topic of today's video. Most of the patterns that I teach when it comes to those underused things are what I call pattern interrupts. What I mean is, you're doing something normal and you're doing something repetitive, and then for no specific reason, you do something off of that pattern. The reason why the pattern interrupt is so useful is because your opponent is not ready for it. If you guys remember in the other video where I did the high line change, the whole purpose of it was you were in a cross-court rally, forehand to forehand or backhand to backhand, and then for no reason at all, you would go with the high line change, and because your partner or your opponent wasn't setting that shot up themselves, they weren't ready to go and track down that high ball because there was nothing that told them that that high ball was coming. So today we're going to use that same concept of the pattern interrupt, and we're going to do what I call the down and up. The down and up is about using that normal rally ball. I'm going to do this one on the backhand side today. Then we'll change it to a low slice. The reason why we're going to change to a low slice is because most people, when they think of slicing, they think somebody has to make them do it. You end up in a defensive position and you're using the slice to give yourself time. The slices can also be offensive changes as well if used properly. So here's how we do the down and up. So to illustrate how this works, I'm going to show you guys how to set the pattern, and then I'll show you guys how to do the pattern interrupt. The pattern interrupt is based off of your opponent giving you a shot that you always give them back. So your neutral ball or your rally ball. When they're hitting the ball to you, you have to get them into the habit of expecting a certain shot to come back. So if you're hitting rally balls back and forth, it doesn't matter what your rally ball is. If you're hitting like that, or if you're the person that hits up there, any of them is fine. But you just have to make sure that they understand what your standard shot is. That way they get used to this rhythm. It does, and again, it goes for any level. If I'm hitting at a high level, I might go heavier or I might go faster, but I'm still getting them used to whatever that rhythm is. Now, once they understand what shot's most likely to come up, that's when you go and interrupt the pattern with a shot like that. What that shot does is that completely throws them off. The reason why that throws them off is they've seen the last 8 to 10 times that they hit that ball, that's not what happened. So they've gotten used to recovering and standing in a certain place. Now, what's the result of this random slice out of nowhere? If you hit it like what you just saw me do, your opponent has one of two options, both of which are going to be beneficial for you. They're either going to need to back up to wait for the slice to come back up higher, or they're going to need to get really low and pick the ball up for you. Either way, you end up being able to take up a better court position off of a neutral ball. And technically, in most cases, people think of the slice as a defensive shot. I don't use it as a defensive shot unless I have to. But the purpose of what I'm saying is you went for a shot that was low risk and you just got the point flipped in your favor. What you have to do next, though, is the thing that's actually really important. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that next. So the next step to this pattern is after you've pushed them back off the court with an effective low slice, and don't forget, it's a low slice and it has to be off of no setup. Because if there was a setup to the slice, then they're probably being proactive with their court position because they see the slice coming. But if you're rallying and then you just choose to go for it, that's when it's effective. But back to this. Once you've hit that shot, your next move has to be to take up the court space and take up the time that you've created, because they're either backing up and that creates more time for you, or they're getting low and picking the ball up over the height of the net. Either way, you have the ability to be in an aggressive position. Your next job is get in here, don't waste that time, and hit to the open side of the court, because they're still pinned in that corner based on your last slice. All you have to do from there is just not waste the opening you created. Now I have the ball machine set to go random now, and you can use your forehand or your backhand. But all you got to do is make sure the ball goes into the right side of the court. So your slice was just way back there, and now you get into position, don't waste it, and now that's the setup. So if I was to do the whole thing, I've got that super low slice, I get into position here, and now I'm done. So enough ball machine and explaining. This is how it would look in practical application. I have Emily on the far end. You guys already know how good she is. She has no idea what the exercise is that we're doing. All I said was I was going to hit most of my balls to her backhand side. So look at how we play it out. Yep. So I just keep that ball there. There's the slice. And there's the attack. So by hitting it low, I force her to have to move in a different way because there was no setup, but I also force her to have to pick it up higher than the net, which gives me time to see what the ball's going to do. When the ball sits up above the height of the net, I kind of have to be in a reactive position. But once the ball drops below the height of the net, I'm able to watch it a little bit longer. So again, just keeping that ball neutral on the backhand side. Not really doing anything special that will put weird pressure on her. I'm just making all my shots. And then that one's a little too high, but still gets the result. And there's a setup. So even that one, I didn't slice it low enough, but I sliced it deep enough that she had to back up and pick it up. Low is ideal because it takes the net and makes it an obstacle. But if you push the person back, they still have to give the bounce time. But that's going to wrap it up, guys. If you know anybody that will benefit from this video, please send it off to them. The whole purpose of this pattern, just like the other one, is you want to get the person comfortable and have the person expecting certain outcomes, and then you just break that rhythm and you give them a shot that they're not ready for. If you wait for an invitation, then you also let the person kind of anticipate what's most likely to happen. But if you're in a neutral rally where both of you could do whatever you want and you break that pattern, that's when it becomes the most effective, because the person's not really on guard for the shot that you're putting them in the position to have to hit. So that's going to wrap this up. Until next time, I'll see you guys in the next one.